Breaking news, insiders. It has been announced that Meghan, Lily and Archie will not join Prince Harry when he is in London next week.
You probably saw this coming, but what you didn't see, what nobody wanted to say out loud, is that this wasn't just another cancelled trip. This was a signal, loud, cold, and brutally clear, that something inside this royal family has finally snapped. You probably saw this coming. Millions did. But while everyone's talking about Meghan pulling out of the UK trip,
nobody truly believed this apart from Harry, did he? I think he felt, Meghan Markle was no intention really of coming back to the United Kingdom. Now the story goes, right, chums, that apparently, later on in the week she might grace us with her presence. And if you remember, this has real echoes of what happened over in Canada,
Almost nobody's noticed what Harry did next, or the one sentence from inside the palace that tells you this family is finished. Wait until you hear it. Because let's be brutally honest for a second, did anyone actually believe she was going to show up? Did anyone really picture Meghan stepping onto British soil, smiling for cameras, children in tow, pretending everything was normal? Or was this always the same carefully staged illusion, the same predictable script we've watched play out again and again? Let's be honest with each other for a moment. When the headlines screamed that Meghan and the children would be joining Harry in London, did you believe it?
Harry and Meghan decided that they felt they wanted to utilise this as a sort of dangler to His Majesty the King. How about a reunion? Finally getting to meet and connect with your grandchildren. There are other problems around that because His Majesty the King, as you know, still in the throes of battling a certain illness, cannot do with stress, cannot do with blood pressure.
Because judging by the reaction, almost nobody did. This is the same routine we get every single summer. Will she come? Won't she come? And just like clockwork, the answer dropped. She's not coming. The kids aren't coming. Harry goes alone. Again. But this time there was a detail so small, so quiet, it almost slipped past unnoticed, and yet it screamed louder than any headline. The papers chase it for weeks, and then, right on schedule, the announcement lands. Meghan is staying home. Archie and Lib are staying home. Harry flies alone. But this time, there was a detail that gave the whole game away. According to a source who saw the family in Portugal just before the announcement,
was insistent that the only place that she would now feel very secure inside palace walls, the monarchy, whatever you want to call it, would be to be able to, now stay in the empty property that is Frogmore Cottage. Surely too many terrible memories there of your passport being taken away, trapped, your car keys, but no, she's overcome that, right?
They hadn't packed for any long stay. No signs of a family preparing to cross to Britain. This was a quick European jaunt, nothing more. No packed bags, no preparation, no intention. Let that sink in. Because if there was never any plan to go, then what exactly was this whole narrative? A performance? A negotiation tactic? Or something darker? Something designed to keep everyone, especially one man, waiting? In other words, the London plan may never have been real in the first place. And here's the part that stings, especially if you're a parent. Sitting in Britain is a father, a king battling cancer, who has never properly known these grandchildren. For weeks, he was allowed to believe he might finally see them. Then, at the 11th hour, and that's where it turns from gossip into something deeply uncomfortable. Because behind palace walls sits a father aging, ill, hoping, waiting, believing, and then nothing. Silence, cancellation, again. If you've ever waited for someone who never showed up, you already know the feeling, that hollow drop in your chest, that quiet realization. If you've ever waited by the phone for a child who doesn't call, you know exactly what that feels like. Commenters have started using a hard word for this pattern: elder abuse. First a dying Prince Philip, then an ailing Queen Elizabeth, now a sick king. But what the Sussexes reportedly demanded before cancelling, that's when the palace stopped feeling sorry for anyone. Because here's the twist nobody can ignore anymore: this wasn't just a cancelled visit. It was a negotiation, a list of demands, and not small ones either. We're talking about Frogmore Cottage, the same place once described as inadequate, suddenly transformed into the only safe option. The contradictions? Instant, obvious, explosive. And then came the part that made even seasoned watchers stop and laugh in disbelief: helicopters. Royal helicopters. The same couple who walked away from the system, who criticized it, who lectured the world, now asking to use its most elite privileges. Is this the same Frogmore Cottage she and Harry described to Oprah as almost an insult? The house that was supposedly too small, the one where she claimed she felt trapped, where the passport and the car keys were supposedly taken away. Suddenly, it's the dream address again. Viewers spotted that contradiction in about 4 seconds flat. Then came the request that made even seasoned royal watchers laugh out loud: use of the royal helicopters. Helicopters. And it didn't stop there. Blue light police escorts, full royal treatment, the kind reserved for those still inside the system, not those who walked away from it. So the question becomes unavoidable: what exactly were they trying to secure? Safety or status? For a couple who lecture the world about carbon footprints, who walked away from royal duty 6 years ago, and who have spent the years since criticizing the very family whose aircraft they now wanted to borrow. Add to that the reported hope for blue light police escorts, the full sirens and motorcade treatment reserved for senior working royals. And who ended it? Prince William. The answer from his side was reportedly simple and final. Meghan would not be setting foot on Windsor land. That line, that one decision, it changed everything, because it wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was final. A door quietly, firmly shut. And if you listen closely, beneath all the headlines, beneath all the noise, you can almost hear something else. And here's where the story stops being about demands and starts becoming something far colder, far more dangerous, because what followed wasn't a fight. It wasn't even resistance. It was distance. Quiet, calculated, almost surgical distance. Not the castle, not the estate, nothing. Now, put yourself in William's shoes for a moment. After everything said about his wife on international television, after the books and the documentaries, wouldn't you draw that same line? The public certainly thought so. Good on William for saying no was one of the loudest reactions out there. Because think about it, this isn't just a disagreement anymore. This isn't brothers arguing behind closed doors. This is a line drawn so clearly, so deliberately, that it leaves no room for misinterpretation. Not a step inside, not a moment shared, not even the illusion of reconciliation. And when a family reaches that point, it's no longer about anger, it's about something much more final. Experts began pulling it apart piece by piece. No transparency. No known authors, no accountability, just conclusions presented as facts. And the more they looked, the more it unraveled. Because the threats described, they weren't unique. They weren't extraordinary. They were normal. The kind of background noise that comes with global fame, the kind that doesn't stop anyone else from living their lives. And then comes the contradiction that no one can ignore. A man supposedly too at risk to safely exist in Britain, casually appearing in London neighborhoods, unrecognized, undisturbed, moving freely without incident. No chaos, no danger, just silence. So what are we really looking at here? A genuine fear or a carefully shaped perception? Because while one side was amplifying danger, the other side had already moved on. Not emotionally explosive, not publicly dramatic, just gone. Invitations no longer sent, names no longer mentioned, conversations where one brother simply doesn't come up anymore. And if you've lived long enough, you know exactly what that means. And yet, on the other side of this silence, there's something almost desperate. A reaching back. A longing that doesn't quite match the reality anymore. Because according to those close to the situation, there is still a desire to reconnect. Still a belief that something can be repaired. But here's the brutal truth: reconciliation doesn't survive in silence. It doesn't grow in distance. And it certainly doesn't rebuild itself after years of public damage. A canceled trip that may never have been real. A list of demands that exposed more than they secured. A security narrative that collapsed under scrutiny. And a family that has quietly, unmistakably, stepped away. And then there's the final, lingering question, the one nobody seems able to answer. After everything, after the interviews, the documentaries, the exits, the reinventions, who are they now without the institution they fought so hard to leave? Because that's the part that doesn't come with headlines. That's the part that doesn't trend. But it's the part that matters most. Identity, purpose, direction, and when those things start to blur, when the story stops evolving and starts repeating itself, something shifts. Because this isn't just about a missed visit anymore.